Hello, this is Sudhakar Moparthi. Welcome to Crowdsourced AI project. Today we're going to talk about authorization, authentication, permissions, identity-based policies, resource-based policies with respect to IAM service and AWS IAM service. And we're going to understand these concepts using SkillBank app, where we have certain terminology. So once you understand the SkillBank app, then it will be easy for you to understand any other software system because similar concepts are applied with slightly different names. Then you will have some knowledge about why they do the way they do in AWS or any other software system in an enterprise. So when you go for an enterprise, into an enterprise, you have lots and lots of systems, and there will be certain type of architecture in that enterprise. And if you abstract all these things, they finally boil down to those fundamental design principles. And those are the principles I'm interested to talk about. And when you try to understand an architecture or any other system, then you have something behind your mind that, oh, that is what in Skillbank system. Okay, so you can correlate. Oh, okay, I understand that system very well. So you need to understand one system with all those design principle abstracted before understanding other systems. So I'll make it easier, and let's get started. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so here, so first thing I'm going to talk about authentication and authorization. So authentication means whether or not do I have access to this application, Skillbank app. So which means if I go to skillbank.com, then I try to sign in. When I sign in, I will get authenticated against Skillbank app. So that's called authentication, whether or not that user ID is there. Or once I'm authenticated, then whether or not I can do certain operations on this within the system. So here right now, so let's say I'll take this example here, AWS IAM user app group. So what are the things that I can do on this? Okay, so can I take certain actions on this? So I can do these three actions. I can move them to delete it, temporarily move them to a space where this user group will be subsequently be deleted. Okay, that's the action. So because I gave this, these are the actions, and because I let Sudhakar do this, I'm able to see this. So that's called authorization. So let's say if I define that authorization based on my logged in user. So for example, my identity. So then it is called identity based policy, because on that identity based, I can, because of that identity, Sudhakar, I'm able to, I'm allowed to delete it, I move to deleted space. Suppose we'll take another example. Let's say if I want this on this resource, excuse me, on this resource, sorry, on this resource, let's call this as a resource, user group. And on this resource, if I want to uh, excuse me, if I want to allow only on Mondays, then I'm going to attach a policy and a permission uh, onto this resource only. Okay. So it is nothing to do with what identity. Sudhakar, John, Joe, it doesn't matter. If it is Monday, it is you are not going to get the ability to delete it, even if you are Sudhakar or even if you are John, who can access and delete this resource. So I can define such a rule in skill bank. We call them as rules in skill bank. In AWS, they call this as policies, and then you attach those policies. So if I attach a policy to a resource itself, then it is a resource based policy. If I attach a policy to an identity like Sudhakar, and then uh, then then it is called identity based policy. So that's the correlation here. Okay. So whether or not you use that logged in information, that then the principle, then it is identity based, or if it is attached to a simple resource, then it is to a resource. So when you read this documentation, you should be able to understand those things. I'm not going to go more into details about all these things, but these are self-explanatory. But I want you to understand what they're trying to do here. Identity-based policies and resource-based policies. And that's all there is. So if you attach a policy to a resource, like on Mondays, I cannot delete. So that's an example. Okay. So that's independent of an identity. And then whereas only Sudhakar can delete these things, that's identity based policy. So that's the difference between those two. So this is called authorization, because what authorization, are you authorized to delete or not? Whereas when I go to when I go to uh, when I go to sign in into the when I go and sign in into the application, that is authentication. All right. Okay. So let's go back here. Permission and policies. So that's all there is. Authentication and authorization, identity-based policies and resource-based policies. Authorization, whether or not I can do actions. Authentication, whether I can get into the system or not. With that, we will conclude for today's video. And if you are interested to be part of this crowdsourced AI project, eventually we're going to automate all these things, please get in touch with me. Thank you very much. Good luck and have a nice day or night, depending upon where you are in the world. All right. Bye-bye.